The headlines screamed. Panama Canal shut down. Global trade halted. Ships anchored in a silent queue. The artery of commerce severed. Ports scrambled to reroute vessels. Stock indices plummeted. Oil prices surged. The canal's silence was unsettling. A world forced to a dead stop. The shutdown was more than logistics. It was a stark reminder of our fragile interconnectedness. The silence of the canal echoed across the globe, and the waiting began. The canal's closure hit the global economy like a heart attack. Financial markets crashed. Investors panicked, dumping stocks in shipping and manufacturing. No one knew how long the shutdown would last. Days, weeks, months. Uncertainty fueled chaos. Energy markets were first to feel the pain. LNG tankers bound for Asia were trapped, threatening blackouts in countries like Chile and Peru. Oil and gas prices spiked, as rerouting ships around Cape Horn added weeks and millions in costs. Global supply chains, already fragile, began to crumble. Automakers paused production, supermarkets warned of shortages, and fresh produce risked spoiling at sea. The just-in-time delivery model, once praised for efficiency, was now a glaring vulnerability. For ordinary people, the crisis hit home. Gas prices soared. Online orders were delayed. Vacations canceled. The psychological impact was profound. Anxiety, uncertainty, and a sense that the world was suddenly unpredictable. Conversations, news, and social media were dominated by the shutdown. The event shattered confidence in the systems people relied on. The world felt vast, fragmented, and dangerously unstable. The shutdown was a crisis of logistics and of trust. The Panama Canal, built on ambition and sacrifice, changed the world, connecting oceans and powering global trade. But its history is also tragedy. Thousands died to make it real. In 2025, its sudden closure shocked the world, revealing how even the greatest achievements can be undone in an instant. At first, engineers suspected catastrophic structural failure. Sensors in the new lock showed alarming data, microfractures and material fatigue that should have taken a century to develop. The canal was closed to prevent disaster. But when teams inspected the locks, they found no visible damage. A young engineer detected a faint energy signature deep within the concrete. Drilling revealed a small, sophisticated device, an acoustic weapon designed to vibrate the concrete apart from within. The device had been embedded during construction, remotely activated years later. It was sabotage of the highest order, a technological ghost, self-powered and nearly undetectable. The implications were chilling. Someone had planned this attack years in advance. The discovery sent shockwaves through intelligence agencies worldwide. The crisis was no longer just about engineering. It was a race against a hidden enemy. The canal was under attack from within, by a weapon designed to destroy it silently. The world's most critical infrastructure had been compromised. The engineers realized they were fighting an invisible war. The stakes, the future of global trade. The question, who was behind it and why now? The hunt for answers began. Confirmation of sabotage turned crisis into catastrophe. The canal's indefinite shutdown shattered global logistics. Shipping companies rerouted vessels around Cape Horn or through the Suez Canal, both costly, both slow. Shipping costs tripled in days. Assembly lines in the US and Europe shut down as parts ran out. Even low-tech industries stalled: clothing, furniture, food. The just-in-time system, once efficient, now left companies exposed and workers furloughed. Supermarket shelves emptied as the cold chain for fresh food broke down. Tons of produce rotted in ports. Prices soared, hitting the poorest hardest. Latin American economies, dependent on canal trade, suffered most. Exports plummeted. Jobs vanished. Unrest erupted. The crisis exposed the world's economic interdependence. A single break in the chain unraveled everything. The pain was global, but not evenly shared. The shutdown was a stark lesson. No nation stands alone. The world's prosperity depended on a fragile, invisible network. And now, that network was broken. Weeks passed, and the crisis deepened, from economic to psychological. News showed idle ships, empty shelves, and rising prices, fueling a feedback loop of fear. Panic buying returned. People hoarded food and fuel, worsening shortages. Anxiety spread. Systems people relied on were failing. Conspiracy theories and geopolitical tensions surged. Accusations flew, but no culprit was found. The shutdown was seen as an attack on the global order. For many, it was a jarring lesson in the complexity and fragility of globalization. The crisis pulled back the curtain on the world's hidden vulnerabilities. The psychological toll was a creeping realization. The modern world was a house of cards. The sense of security was gone. As the world reeled, an international team raced to find and neutralize the sabotage devices. Engineers, military experts, and physicists scanned every inch of the locks, searching for faint energy signatures. Intelligence agencies launched Operation Crossroads, combing through records of contractors and shell companies. More devices were found, strategically placed to trigger catastrophic failure. Neutralizing them required precision. Physicists used inverse frequency waves to cancel the destructive resonance. After 3 weeks, the final device was deactivated. Relief swept through the command center, but the work wasn't over. Engineers assessed the damage, microfractures but repairable. Advanced epoxy resins were injected to restore the locks. As repairs progressed, investigators traced a financial trail to a state-sponsored sabotage unit, though no government would ever admit involvement. The crisis had been narrowly averted. The canal's fate hung on science, teamwork, and a bit of luck. The world watched, hoping for a return to normal. The lesson: even the strongest systems can be undone by invisible threats. Vigilance was now the world's new watchword. On June 28, 2025, 44 days after the shutdown, the Panama Canal Authority announced a phased reopening. Relief swept the globe. Stock markets surged. The first ship's transit was broadcast live, a symbol of hope and recovery. The reopening was cautious, limited capacity, strict monitoring, and priority for essential goods. Clearing the backlog would take weeks, but the crisis was finally receding. Factories restarted, supermarket shelves refilled, and prices began to fall. The scars remained. Billions lost, jobs gone, trust shaken. Companies began rethinking just-in-time manufacturing, prioritizing resilience over efficiency. The shutdown sparked a global conversation about supply chain security. The psychological relief was palpable, but the memory lingered. The world had learned how quickly everything could stop. The return to normal was a new normal, one shaped by hard lessons. The canal's silence had changed the world. The crisis was over, but its impact would last. The world would not soon forget. The Great Canal Shutdown of 2025 was a global wake-up call. It exposed vulnerabilities in the systems that power modern life. Nations responded with new security protocols, stricter checks, embedded sensors, and regular scans for critical infrastructure. Companies shifted from efficiency to resilience, diversifying suppliers and increasing inventories. The crisis underscored the need for international cooperation. Shared threats required shared solutions. The shutdown was a story of fragility, but also of resilience and adaptation. The world evolved, ushering in a new era of vigilance. The memory of silent ships remains, a reminder that prosperity depends on trust and security. The lesson was learned the hard way. The world would never take its interconnectedness for granted again.